Hi everyone, I'm Natalie from My Progression and welcome back to GDPR Part 2. If you haven't seen GDPR Part 1, then see the link here or in the description. You can watch this video without watching Part 1, but make sure you check it out afterwards. This video is going to take you through some practical advice and guidance on how to get GDPR right, and I'm hoping change your mind about USBs. Whilst training is provided in schools on the impact of GDPR, many educational professionals are left with questions regarding everyday practices, some which may seem quite basic, but remember, there is no such thing as a stupid question. Teaching staff, as well we know, do not just work from school, but will at times work from home. Laptops are taken home along with storage devices and children's books and assessments which need marking. We've had many questions around what you can and can't do. So we hope that today we can address some of them. Can I use technology at home to complete necessary work for school? Yes, but when using your own technology, phones, laptops, PCs, ensure it's password protected and encrypted. Natalie here. Just to clarify on this point, it's always best to use school devices when doing your work for school, as this will provide the best security. If you have to use your own device, liaise with the school to make sure that files with confidential information are suitably protected. Can I send out class lists? In the primary setting especially, parents often ask for a list of the children in the class or year group so they can send out party invitations and Christmas cards. It's part of school life. So now, with GDPR impacting schools, the answer is, it depends. Under GDPR, you should not share personal information of any kind without permission or consent. This is usually signed permission rather than a verbal permission from the parent or guardian. You need to have a signed consent form which states that you will share information with other pupils and parents of the class, and you need to be very clear about what information you'll share. Now you can give out the birthday invites and the Christmas cards as you have been given these by a consenting guardian. Schools have been very good for a long time at protecting children and families, and a regular practice is to seek permission for a number of things on one form at the beginning of an academic year, so that all the permissions are in place for the regular day-to-day things. These permission forms may include photograph use for social media platforms, permission to take a child off site locally, permission to share a child's first name with other parents. And separate consent forms will be needed for other events such as a day trip out of the area, a residential trip along with a medical consent, where teachers have to act in place of the parents and make decisions on their behalf. Can I take photos and videos of my pupils? Short answer, if you're using your personal device, no. Don't do that, it's completely inappropriate. On a school device, you can, but again, you need consent. With the use of social media being an important platform for schools to link with parents and pupils, as well as showcase what they do in schools, photo and video is widely used. There have been rules that predate GDPR, and schools will already know what is and isn't allowed, so make sure you review their policies. But in short, you need permission from the parent or guardian of anyone who is in an image. Now, where GDPR does have an impact is if personal information is being recorded and published in or with the photo or video. Mistakes can easily be made, so beware. Schools modestly share an anonymous photo of a pupil celebrating his or her work on a blog or on Twitter, only to have the pupil's name and sometimes even age written on the piece of work they're holding up to the camera for all the world to see. Unless clear and express permission has been given, schools should not share personal information with or within a photo or video. And sharing the age and name of a child could be putting them at significant risk. This is also true of videos and photos being taken by parents at school productions, sports days, or other open events. This shouldn't mean that parents should be banned from recording videos or taking photos. As long as child protection needs are met, Parents can do this, but you need to think about how you announce over the loudspeaker the winner of the egg and spoon race at your next sports day. If working in a school and you're asked to take photos throughout the day, make sure you check, can all the children be photographed? There may be some children who, for whatever reason, are not allowed in any pictures. Protect yourself as well as the child. If unsure, ask and ask again. Children are often aware themselves and will say that they're not allowed to be photographed. I've heard that permission can be revoked. Is this true? Yes. Parents, pupils and staff can revoke their permission at any time, and you must comply with this immediately. Can a parent request information from the school about their child? A parent or guardian have the right to request all the data that the school holds about them, including written records from private meetings with written records and governor minutes which feature them. They can also ask for any data the school holds to be removed. So remember, all communication, written or verbal, should be factually correct, objective, and with a tone that you're happy for a parent to hear. Can we have children's photos on their books or display boards along with their name? In a primary setting, for many years, it's been common practice to have a nice photo of the child with their name underneath. This is the same with the display boards, a nice piece of work with the child's name. Schools will have decided what's appropriate and acceptable. If it's the first name, it should be fine, but check with a member of staff before completing a display to ensure you're following the correct policy. First names and surnames together on a display board should be given serious consideration. Again, if unsure, ask or just keep it generic. Year 4 have worked hard to produce some excellent artwork in the style of Charles René Mackintosh. Can I use my USB memory stick to take files between school and home? We all love a good USB, don't we? But in reality, they're a bit old school now. So there are so many other ways of storing files safely. I know some teachers who love a USB, and some even have boxes full of USBs with lesson plans on them. You need to think carefully about what content you have on them. They are the little items that can be left in a computer or drop out of your bag or your pocket. So if lost, consider what someone might find on them. Have you got class information and spreadsheets with names and dates of birth? Have you information on the referral forms you've been filling in at home with addresses or parents' names or dates of birth? Delete them as soon as you can. If the files on your USBs contain zero personal information, then they're fine to use. Although there are much better options, such as online encrypted platforms where you can access your files from the cloud using a secure username and password. If you are using personal information, you should only use encrypted physical storage, which never leaves the school, or password and encrypted online cloud storage. Check the online storage provider's GDPR statement carefully, as the responsibility lies with you for its security. Best practice is to take a business account rather than a free account to provide the adequate level of protection. If you need help with this, ask your ICT coordinator or technician. They'll be able to advise and help. If you're unsure, just ask. Can I call out the children's names on a school trip? Doing a roll call and calling out children by their first names will never be an issue even in public. Unless you're prone to extended reprimands along the lines of, "Little Ben Bridges, I don't know how your parents have put up with you since you were born on the 21st of February 2010 on Shaftesbury Avenue," you're not infringing on GDPR. Can I communicate online with outside agencies and parents? Emails are now a universal form of online communication, but they're also a common point for data breaches. In order to make emails more secure, always use your school email account for any work-related communications. If you're sending a sensitive document via email, consider password protecting the document. Now, this could be a referral concerning a child to an outside agency, where you've detailed personal information about the student and possibly the family. Make sure the email address you're sending it to is a legitimate one, particularly when replying to an email. Don't open attachments from unsolicited emails. Can I have a social media life and be GDPR compliant? Unless you're giving out personal information of other people, there's nothing under GDPR which would prevent you from appearing on any social media platform you wish. For your own safety, make sure your settings are set to private so you can't be contacted by parents or pupils past and present. Your school may have advice on the use of social platforms, but your social media life is not a GDPR issue. For more on the do's and don'ts of social media, see our video on online safety for teachers. The school I'm working in uses video monitoring of lessons and staff. Can this continue under GDPR? At the initial outset of a lesson being videoed, permission will need to be given by staff and a reason why it's being recorded. Ask questions like, how will this video be used? Who will have access to it? How will it be stored and for how long? Where GDPR has an impact is how the video is stored and how the information, whether on the video or derived from the video, is used. This must be made completely clear at the time the agreement to opt in to being recorded is given. For example, if the video may be used in staff disciplinary proceedings or as evidence for pupil exclusions, this should be stated at the outset. As with all GDPR agreements, it must be a real choice that can be refused or revoked. My school keeps the books of all our past pupils for years after they've left the school. Is this allowed under GDPR? For many years, schools have kept piles of past pupils' books, but under the GDPR rule, the answer to this question is no, unless permission has been expressly granted by the pupil or parent. Even if that pupil left before GDPR was enacted, should not keep information without gaining permission, or be prepared to justify to the Information Commissioner's Office that you have a legitimate need and use of the books if a complaint is made. This is true for any information you hold of past pupils and employees. Best practice is to gain permission to hold any information and state clearly when that information will be removed. Should pupils have their name on their lunchboxes? Yes, this is essential, as how many Man U lunchboxes have you seen in a primary or secondary school? It's imperative that the correct lunchbox reaches the correct owner at lunchtime. I've been Natalie from My Progression, and if you found this video on GDPR helpful, then like, subscribe and click on the bell to keep hearing more from My Progression. And as always, let's keep your career in motion.